interesting to get your answer on this from working with a board, but also then being on a board with the advisory side of things. Is, you know, what questions should the board be asking but are currently not asking?
So I think it's make it more asking what them asking what they should ask, if that makes sense. So rather than them saying, hey, we want to know XYZ, actually have that dialogue. So have the boards going, okay, so what do we think the biggest risks to our organization are from a security standpoint? Because a lot of places will have you have your high level risk register, and it'll have, you know, geopolitical or whatever else on it, and it'll have like cyber risk as a thing. And it's like, but what does that mean, right? So they have this nebulous cyber risk is in the top 3-5 risks to our organization, wherever it's been put, but it's not necessarily kind of the next level down isn't necessarily covered off. So there's this nebulous, scary cyber stuff, right? And you'd have read stuff in the paper and probably seen some adverts for products that no one likes and that kind of stuff. But you won't necessarily have that full understanding, right? So so I guess if you're on an exec or board, ask your security folk, you know, whether that's CISOs, heads off, whatever, but ask them what in their mind are the biggest risks to the business and why, right? Make us explain it. Don't just let us go, right, what is this? But explain what the biggest risks are, and get that kind of hopefully broad consensus view across risk and audits, especially risk because they're kind of probably closer to the sort of cold face, and the security teams. You know, what are those biggest concerns, and then we can start talking about why they're the biggest concerns and what we're doing about them. And obviously that will change over time. So I also like to kind of make sure that we have that kind of discussion around, you know, the evolving business, the evolving threat landscape, and we're unlikely to ever be done. Because you get those, I hate those things where it's like we're red, amber, or green, and then you get to green. It's like, does that mean we're finished? Well, no, we're just green according to that program, right? So green might be if you're a maturity of 4 and, you know, maturity of 1 or 2 in most places. Green might be let's get to a 3 by the end of the year, right? Or whatever else, right? So you can define these targets, but they should be sort of targets of this is where we need to get to by the time we're this size, or this is where we need to get to by 18 months' time, because we know we can't fix it all now. And there's always a balance, right? So even when you have got big risks or big gaps, if you stop work to fix those, you're not delivering other things, right? So I think that you have to have that kind of, I'm going a bit off on a bit of a tangent, but you have that kind of realistic timeline as well. So as a business, how much do we want to devote to security versus getting new things out the door versus, right? Because it's never a infinite pot of resource and money. So there is always trade-offs. Much as security folk like, oh, we should fix everything and there should be no risk. It's like, well, that's never going to happen, because intrinsically businesses will always take some risk. It's not even security. It's like if you want to go into a new market, okay, we're going to go and open up stuff in a whole new country and get new office space and employ people. That's a risk because you don't know if you're going to take off in that country. Those kind of things. So businesses take big risks all the time, and security is just part of that risk landscape. I've gone way off on a tangent, so apologies. But so I think so fundamentally it's. What was the question again? Sorry.
What questions should the board be asking?
That's what. So basically, it's getting into that dialogue, understanding what the biggest risks and how we track them, and then so from that, I like to just make sure people I do push the point quite a lot that we don't get to done. We might get to done in terms of we've agreed this is the 18-month program, but then there'll be more things because there'll be new threat actors out there. We'll be bigger, so if you're in a growing organization, you might be. When you're small, you're not much of a target. You can still be a target for what you've got. But say if you've got 50,000 customers and you're not in anyone's supply chain, and then you've got millions of customers and you become part of the supply chain for key suppliers, suddenly you're not just a target. You're a target for people targeting all the people you supply, those kind of things. So your threat profile and who's targeting you and why changes as your organization grows as well. So I think it's really important to make sure people get that message of growth and change and evolving threats and things, not in terms of, hey, it's fear, because some of it's success, right? So one of the things I'm talking about currently is as we grow, we become more of a target because of success. So it's almost like tax, right? No one wants to pay tax, but the reality is if you're paying a lot of tax, it's probably because you're earning a lot. So it's kind of a sign of, it's a sign of success in many ways. And it's the same thing. If you become a bigger target and more people are aware of you and you're supplying more organizations and you're a more important part of the economy and whatever else, that's because you've been hugely successful. So part of the tax of that is the fact that you now are a bigger target. So more people are going to come after you because you've got more things of value. You've got more money or more records or more IP or all of the above, right? So actually having more security risk is kind of a benefit, because it's not a benefit, that's the wrong word, is a cost of success, but it's showing you've been successful, right? Because you're now a target for more people.
thank you guys. I really appreciate it. We will get this out to the audience as soon as possible. And this will all go towards our insight report that we are building around risk resilience and reputation, CISO and the board. But a massive thank you to Kevin for joining us and giving his perspective and his experience and knowledge. So appreciate the time, Kevin. And thank you for Jody for running the session.